So I'm going to give you a quick cap over Rightways or Sideways. All of the mixing techniques, panning and automation I've used within the track. So I'm starting off with the intro. I've simply just gone on Alchemy and I've found some atmospheric pads, ghost voices. And I've tried to go with a positive sort of feel, but still atmospheric. So then, before I had the sort of risers, as they are, well, they're not really risers, but they are risers. But I was having trouble with the song intro going into the first verse. It's too sharp and, well, too sudden. So what I did was I had a little look at Alchemy again, and I found these sounds. Let's here we are, have a listen. So this is more of a textual sound to lay with this, and as you hear, as it goes on, it rises. So yeah, so that's what I've done with that. And then I used an 808 kick and a 909 kick just to add a bit more sort of wave to it. I've chosen 808 kick because it's got a lot of sub, and I think that's what it definitely needed for this sort of chill groove and beat. And a lot of hip hop use 808. For example, Outkast. It's quite a traditional kick to use. So yeah, so what I've done with the 808 kick, I've simply taken out the low end frequencies that aren't needed, up to 40, quite standard, and then I've hired up the sub frequencies within the kick bottom. So as you can see, I've hired it between 50 to even all the way up to, where would it say? Well, anyway, up to like 300 hertz. And this just gives a little bit more welly within the sub frequencies on the beat. And then with the 909, I've done the same, taken out the low end frequencies that aren't needed up to 33.5 hertz. And again, I've hired up the sort of sub low end frequencies. Well, they're the low frequencies of the kick. And it's okay for me to hire up the same frequency area of the 808 kick and the 909 kick, because they take turns when they're coming in, so they've still got their rightful place within the mix and the frequency spectrum. So yeah, moving on to my first verse, I've brought in some fizzy bass. And fizzy bass, I wanted the 909 kick and the 808 kick to have over all of the low end frequencies, and I just wanted to have the bass as the fizz. So I've cut out the low end quite a drastic amount really, and I've also, just to sort of allow all the high frequencies, well, all the instrumentation to need the high frequencies, I dipped out a bit of the high frequencies here. But here's a listen to what it sounds without the EQ. Quite without distortion, no energy, no tonality, and that's why I added I've shapened the sound to be a bit more clean, as you were, but still keep that fuzz. And then to bring that tonality, I've placed distortion. Obviously with the kick, with the compression, I've also boosted it up. Squishes it a little bit more, brings it together. And I love using the vintage VCA because it adds a lot of the high ends. No, it brings up a lot of the high ends within the sound as well. High ends, I mean high frequencies. But yeah, so moving on with the first verse, I've brung in sort of shaker, a nice sweet shaker, taken away a lot of the low end frequencies and brung in the sweetness in the high frequencies. And then with the clap, you can hear it's got a delay and a lot of reverb on it, but I've actually bounced that down from what I previously did, so I can't really show you what I've done, but yeah, that's what I did. Placed a delay on it and I put a lot of reverb on it, and it sort of just adds a little bit more of a groove to the beat. That little gap when the sub comes through. So here I've had a little bit of Foley to go with the lyrical content that I've used. I'm talking about gargling brains. So I've recorded myself gargling a mouthwash, added a little bit of reverb, but again I bounced it down so I can't show you, but yeah, to make it sound like I'm in a bathroom, and then me swallowing it, and then me saying it like as if it's really nice, me gargling brains and swallowing it. You know, it's quite a traditional technique just to muck around and not take things so serious in hip hop, you know, and it also gets the listener a bit more interested and keen. Like Eminem, he's done quite a lot of mucking around with sounds and that, and sketches within his tracks. But yeah, so that's what I've done there. And here I've added telephone electronic sounds. Because again, in my lyrical content, I'm talking about telephones. Always keep switched on like police telephones. So I thought it'd be quite good to get a bit more of an upbeat electronic sound coming in, just to bring up the beat before the chorus, and hunt for a sound that sounds like telephone noises. And that's what I came across these. And I've used a delay on there, as you can hear. And just to sharpen it up as it comes in, I've also done the same sound, but not used delay. Like that. And can you hear, well, you can't really hear that well through the recording, but I've actually made this telephone electronic sound as if it's panned fully to the right and fully to the left, using this silver verb. You know, it doesn't really make it sound as if it's got reverb on it, but you know, like I said, it actually makes it sound as if it's got pan fully to the right and pan fully to the left, just spacing it out within the mix. And then this sound, I just add a bit more low end to the beat, you know. And it's quite a funky, random, bloody sound, isn't it, you know. And I didn't want it to battle too much with the 808 kick and the 909 kick, so I did cut out quite a bit of the low end frequencies up to 50, because it's round about here that the 808 kick and the 909 kick have overall of. So, you know, I've made sure that none of the frequencies will be clashing with each other. So then moving on to the chorus, I've then brung back them atmospheric synths that I've used at the beginning. And cut out all the low end frequencies that aren't needed, given all the low end frequency instrumentation to have over all of it. And then comes into The second verse. To add transition within the track and movement, I've taken away the fizzy bass. Just sort of bring it back down again. Still keeping that groove with the shakers and the claps. And again, fitting with the lyrical content, I've placed a royalty-free Foley of an ocean wave. And it also goes with the flow and the wave of this part as well, the instrumentation. See, and here, with this started out to be the same as the pads here, obviously, as you can hear. But what I've done is I've used pitch shifter on this bit to bring it up, and then I bounced it out. I really loved that bit. It just added a bit more of a sweet tone to it. You know, it's quite a nice little groove. So yeah. Then later on, how many times I said so? Yeah. So later on, it's slowing down. So I've started to slow it down by chopping up the claps, making it a bit more sharper. A bit of like jungle sort of double clap. And then another little extension of the fade, taking away the claps, the shakers. And then I high cut the frequencies of the kick to add more transition, fading out before bringing it back in with the chorus. So with this one, I haven't used sidechain compression at all. I've relied on EQ to make the kick sound significant over the bass. So, you know, I've allowed the 808 kick and the 909 kick to have full rights over the low end frequencies, and made the bass simply have, you know, here we go, mostly the mids. And that's how I've made the bass, well, the kick come through on this mix. So yeah, that's Rightways or Sideways.